across these tropics at 180 degrees and at 0 degrees where Africa is. This horizon, the Horus latitude, so when you look at Horus and Horizon and Seth and this mythology, each quadrant had to have this story. For this to be universal, in each quad of the earth, you would teach these laws and statutes. To understand how the 42 laws were essential, right, to passing. We have to understand that between each quad is 6 15 degrees. When you look at pi in this measure and 314, and 314 being 42, and this measure before you had to outweigh, you know what I'm saying, as they say, your soul, but we gotta understand merchants and traveling, right? Before you can travel into the next quad, before you could travel into the pass, you had to make sure you weighed your scales. You wasn't too abundant in your travels, because this land of the dead, people would try to come into this land to grave, rob treasures, because people want to be buried in this land. So when we look at the Grand Canyon and the regions of the Grand Canyon, you know what I'm saying, above this tropic, in these regions of Arizona and Utah and these regions, people wanted to be buried in these lands when the sun was set in this land, the great sunset. So the great ending is why this land is known as the land of the dead, the land of the black, the land of the, we understand necro and dead. It didn't always have this negative connotation that we understand it to be. So when we look at the um, Asia, Asia, right, and the rising of the sun from its dead mark, right, of the winter solstice, these lands, when we look at Amen, in the hidden in the land of the north, and Azet land, and its meaning and its connection with Ammon, the land of the north, these things are essential to tracing ancient biblical history and understanding the Naga and the Negus and these so-called racist serpent demons, that they call them guardians of the underregion. So we understand the guardian, what they call a garden snake, right? Understand the guardians and what took place in the Garden of Eden and the protection of keeping man from the tree of life, from never having to die, right? The Most High said he had to remove man from access to the tree in the scripture. So we understand this land of death and this rising sun and the protection, the guardians of these lands from 100, where they call the Indies. These are where we get these Indies, the guardians of these lands, whereas the West Indies guardian the Amazon in these regions. This is why Christopher Columbus and them came and tried to come into these lands. They had to first get through the islands, the West Indies. So understand this region of the East End and the guardian of the snake and the Naga. Um, and the travels of the Negus, the ancient priest kings, and how the earth, understanding the center and pi, was essential to the development of this measuring and this calculating of the sun and this divine mathematics for these travelers to come into these regions and establish this culture of the Naga, the rising sun, the land of the Orient, Orion, the mighty ones, the mighty hunters. So we understand the bow and the arrow and the connection of the Asiatics in America, Amu, the mother, the monarchs, those that came in their father's name, leaving their mother's land to establish something under their father's land while still having their promise and their mother's matriarchal paradise of Amuraka, the Amu Empire. So these prehistoric empires that existed before the formulation of the biblical text, before all of these formulations of biblical narratives, we have an empire here in the Americas that traveled and established this empire in Asia, in the Australoid southern regions of the Pacific, the Okeanos, the Okeane, understand, the scepter and Virgo in that time, man. Shalom.